guys, John here, Motor T-Scale Models. So what we're going to go on the bench next is this AMT Ertl 1967 Camaro Z28. So a friend of mine that lives right down the road from me, he reached out to me and asked me if I wanted this kit. He said that he had purchased it back years ago because he wanted to build a replica of the 67 Camaro that he had. Now his was not a Z28, but he just got to the point he doesn't build models no more. So he asked me if I wanted it. And when he told me that he wanted to build it to replicate a Camaro that he owned, I asked him if he could send me a picture, and he did. And I asked him if he would like for me to build this for him in the style of the car that he had, and he said absolutely. So he brought me the car, or the kit. So I'm going to build this kit as a 1967 Camaro. It's going to be golden color. Now the difference on his is that his wheels that he had was the 5-slot rims. So I've got this from Pegasus. I've had these for a little while, and they're the 5-slot wheels, or rims, I'm sorry, and I'm going to use these on the kit. The one thing that I don't have is the car that he owned had what were called manhandler wheels, and I don't have the decals to make the manhandler wheels, so he just may not get the raised white letters. But anyway, so we're going to take a look at what all's inside this box real quick, kind of talk about the differences of the Z28 and the actual Camaro itself. So bear with me a second and we'll get this going. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at is the body itself. And from what research I've done, there's not any difference in the body style for the Camaro as it was for the Z28. I think the Z28 just mostly had some differences in the actual motor, maybe markings, but anyway. So for an Ertl kit, for an AMT Ertl kit, this body is pretty daggum clean. There's hardly any molding issues. I might have a mold line here in here that I got to work on, sand down the edges a little bit here on the front bumpers and on the front fenders, on the rear fenders. But other than that, not too bad for to start off with. So I'm looking forward to that. The undercarriage, no big deal there. Pretty clean undercarriage. So this will be the hood that I'm going to go with. It will be the Camaro style hood, wheel backings. His interior was black, so I'll paint this black as far as the dash and the seats. The cowling, he didn't have a spoiler on his, so we're not going to go with the spoiler on this one. Alright, so you got your rear axle and your my mind just went blank, your leaf springs, some of the motor parts, your front end assembly here, shocks, springs. Now this is for the Camaro intake. Exhaust, your manifolds, things like that. The engine, the heads, alternator, a few things there. What else we got here? Okay, so you can do this kit up also with a hood scoop on it. Although I've not seen the hood scoop yet. And I believe these will be for wider tires if you wanted to go with a more stock version. Headers. I'll have to get with him to see if he had headers on his. But won't be using this part. So here's a little bit. This intake right here is more for the Z28. So we won't be using this. You got some extra rims, which I love this. I'll use these. I'll use these for another kit. I'm sorry, I'll use those for another kit. Your radiator, some other components there. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, just more front end parts, which I'll be using. Your interior tub, which get painted black. Let's see what else I have in the kit here. So I have my chrome tree, which I'll use quite a bit of this chrome. I won't be using these rims. I won't be using the side pipes. Your intake manifolds there I won't be using. So he pretty much had a stock engine in his. And then you've got your clear glass, so we'll use that obviously. And then the instructions, and I'll do a lot more research just to make sure what all I'm going to use for the Camaro. The instructions are pretty self-evident here, so not a whole lot to this kit. We'll get it put together for him and make it look good. So decals down here on the bottom. So anyway, and then we have our decal sheet. This is pretty yellowed, so I'm not too sure that any of these would work anyway. So we'll see. Okay. And other than that, that's all that was in the box besides the steering wheel. So we're going to jump on this kit and start working on it and get it set up for him. And hopefully I can do it good for what he had, make it look pretty good for what he had when he was younger. I think when he was in the Air Force years and years ago, probably more than 30 plus years ago, 40 years ago when he was in the Air Force. So he's a little bit older than I am. I was in the military 40 years ago, so it might be 40 plus years for him. Excuse me. Anyway, all right, guys, we're going to work on this, and we will be back with you shortly. All right, guys, so I got the engine finished for the Camaro, and turned out pretty good. So I don't have any details as how my buddy had his car set up, so he just kind of strikes me as a type person who would not go with the stock breather, so I'm going to throw this custom breather on there. Got the plug wires in. I think it looks pretty good. So we're going to go from there and see what we can do next. Alright guys, so I finished up on the 1967 Chevy Camaro that I'm building for my buddy. who was in the Air Force back years ago, and he had a 67 Camaro. It was his dream car. He bought the kit, as I said before, with the plans of building it, but he just never got around to it. Said he just got out of building kits, so asked me if I wanted the kit. I told him, I said, man, I'd love to have it, but I'd love to build it for the car that you wanted. So he gave me some details on it. It's pretty close to what he had. I'm sure there's a few differences, but I think it turned out pretty good. The color, painted gold, it's Testors gold. And I really do believe the car turned out pretty well. So we will take a look at some other issues on it. I noticed that as it's turning around, it looks like a back window's popped out on it. I'll have to fix that, but we'll get it done. So let's see if I can get the hood off, and we'll take a look at the engine. So didn't do a whole lot of detail in the engine area, just put some plug wires. Other than that, it's pretty much just stock from the box. The only thing that I did different on this kit that's not straight out of the box is the wheels. He had the 5 slot mags. The one thing I wish I could have done that I just didn't have any way of doing was he had white raised letters on his car. I'll try to post a picture of the car that he sent me, but he had white raised letters, but they were called man-eater tires, and I couldn't find any way, and I'm just not that good with printing out decals and everything like that, so he's getting no white walls. But anyway, tell me what you guys think. I'm going to give this to him here next day or so. If you're new to my channel, thank you for coming and checking it out. Appreciate you. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button so you'll be notified of future builds coming up. If you really like it, share the video. I appreciate that. And if you are a current member, thank you guys so much for all the stuff that you've done for me. I really do appreciate all the input that I get, and I love watching y'all's channels because I get a lot of good info on how to improve my channel. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.